Terminator 2: Judgment Day wasn't just another blockbuster sequel. It was a cultural earthquake, chrome skeletons colliding with motorcycle chases and nuclear nightmares. But behind the explosions and groundbreaking effects, there were brutal creative decisions, erased timelines, and dangerous real-world consequences. These are 15 hidden truths about Terminator 2: Judgment Day. And buried in it, the dark crossover where RoboCop's human mind becomes the missing link that creates Skynet. Number 1. The erased happy ending. James Cameron originally filmed a definitive happy ending for Terminator 2. The ending is set on 29th August, 2029. The very day Skynet was supposed to send the original T-800 to 1984 to kill Sarah in Terminator 1. We see a 64-year-old Sarah Connor in a peaceful playground. Beside her, a grown-up John Connor is now a prominent U.S. senator playing with his young daughter. Cameron even planned to show a civilian Kyle Reese passing by, a man who in this rewritten timeline never knew Sarah. While test audiences felt the scene was too soft, the studio had a much bigger concern. Producer Mario Casar realized that such total resolution would make a lucrative Terminator 3 impossible. To protect the franchise's financial future, the happy ending was scrapped. Cameron eventually replaced it with the haunting dark highway at night, leaving humanity's fate just ambiguous enough for the many sequels that followed.
I face it for the first time with a sense of hope. Because if a machine, a Terminator, can learn the value of human life, maybe we can too.
Number 2. The T-1000's most disturbing evolution. While the T-800 was slowly learning empathy and human values, the T-1000 was evolving in the opposite direction. At the beginning, the T-1000 kills with pure efficiency. It moves fast, finishes targets quickly, and shows no emotion. But during the final battle in the steel mill, its behavior clearly changes. Instead of finishing Sarah Connor immediately, it slows down, mocks her, and even wags its finger at her. This delay has no tactical advantage at all. It looks personal and cruel. This also supports what fans call the learning theory. The T-800 learns human values from John and Sarah Connor. The T-1000, however, learns from fear, pain, and dominance over its victims. Through this contrast, James Cameron explores a theme of humanity. Just like machines, humans are also shaped by what they learn from their environment.
Never shout at him or get drunk and hit him or say it was too busy to spend time with him. It would always be there.
Number 3. Arnold's famous line. Everyone knows Arnold Schwarzenegger's famous line,
"Hasta la vista, baby."
However, localization challenges happened during the Spanish dubbing process. Because the phrase "hasta la vista" is everyday Spanish, it sounded completely ordinary to audiences in Spain and didn't carry the cool or foreign slang effect intended in the original film. To preserve the idea of the Terminator learning an exotic catchphrase, the Spanish dubbing team replaced the line with "Sayonara, baby." That line also became very famous and later appeared in several films, including Terminator 3, Terminator Genesis, and Last Action Hero. Arnold Schwarzenegger himself loved the phrase so much that he went on to use it repeatedly in his political career, including during his campaign for governor of California.
Hasta la vista. Hasta la vista, baby, to the contacts. Hasta la vista to prejudice. Hasta la vista to the dance. Hasta la vista, baby. Hasta la vista, baby. Hasta la vista, baby.
Number 4. The Skynet Resurrection Paradox. In the original timeline, Skynet is created by Miles Dyson at Cyberdyne Systems. However, the events of Terminator 2: Judgment Day change everything. Dyson's death and the destruction of Cyberdyne erase that path entirely. Ironically, this doesn't stop Judgment Day, it only changes who causes it. After Cyberdyne's fall, the US military continued the work through cyber research systems. This time, Skynet isn't a physical chip, but a global autonomous defense software designed to protect military networks. In Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines, Skynet is activated to stop a digital virus that is actually itself, triggering Judgment Day. This supports the timeline self-correction theory that says remove the creator and history simply finds another way. Number 5. The Box with Roses. Have you ever wondered why, when the T-800 pulls out his shotgun at the Galleria in Terminator 2: Judgment Day, there are roses inside the box? Most people see it as just a cool visual detail, but it's actually a clever meta Easter egg. The roses are a direct nod to Guns N' Roses, the band behind the film's main single, You Could Be Mine. By literally placing guns inside roses, James Cameron was winking at the audience and acknowledging the massive pop culture crossover. It was a smart way to blend the Terminator's new rock and roll attitude with the biggest band in the world at the time. Number 6. The liquid metal monster Skynet feared. The T-1000 from Terminator 2 isn't just powerful, it's fundamentally different from every Terminator before it. Unlike the T-800, the T-1000 has no brain in its head and no heart in its chest. Every drop of its liquid metal body is a microscopic processing unit. Even if it were shattered into millions of fragments, each piece would still know its role and the location of the others within a 14-kilometer radius. That's why it can't be restrained like older models. It has full intelligence and total autonomy. This also explains why the T-1000 mostly forms blades instead of guns. It can mimic solid shapes but not complex mechanisms. Firearms require gunpowder, springs, and chambers it cannot generate from its own body. The same limitation prevents it from becoming machines like helicopters. In the lore, this extreme independence is exactly why Skynet feared the T-1000 might rebel and chose to send the simpler T-800 in the Terminator first. Number 7. The night Terminator 2 accidentally filmed history. In March 1991, while Terminator 2 was filming Arnold Schwarzenegger's biker bar scene in Lakeview Terrace, Los Angeles, something shocking was happening nearby. Just a few blocks away, the historic incident involving Rodney King was taking place. The coincidence gets even stranger. The man who recorded the beating, George Holliday, had just bought a new camcorder. Earlier that same day, he tested it by filming the Terminator 2 production near his home. Later that night, he used the same camera to capture the footage that would spark the 1992 civil unrest in LA. The irony is profound. A single camera, on a single day, captured both a cinematic hunter and a real-world turning point, forever linking the fictional world of Skynet to a defining moment in American history. Number 8. The idea that was too cruel for the movie. In early drafts of Terminator 2, James Cameron explored an especially disturbing idea, the T-1000 disguising itself as Kyle Reese. For Sarah Connor, Kyle wasn't just a soldier, he was her only true love, John Connor's father, and a man who died protecting her. Cameron imagined the T-1000 exploiting this trauma, approaching Sarah with Kyle's face and killing her as she ran toward him. Ultimately, it was abandoned out of concern it would confuse audiences and permanently taint Kyle Reese's heroic image. However, Michael Biehn still filmed a dream scene where Kyle warns Sarah that John is in danger. That scene was removed from the theatrical cut to maintain pacing and keep the story's momentum focused on action. Number 9. The RoboCop connection. In the 1992 Dark Horse Comics crossover RoboCop vs. Terminator, written by Frank Miller, the franchise delivers one of the darkest origin stories for Skynet. Here, Skynet is not born solely from stolen chips or military supercomputers. Its true creation comes from the human consciousness inside RoboCop. Alex Murphy's mind becomes the missing link that allows machines to truly think, reason, and become fully self-aware. In the year 2029, after uncovering this truth, John Connor sends a soldier named Flo Langer back to the 1990s. She arrives at a point when Murphy is already operating as RoboCop, but has not yet been connected to the military network. Flo warns him that within 2 years, this connection will trigger Judgment Day. In response, Skynet sends 3 T-800 units to Detroit, not to kill RoboCop, but to protect him. Seeing ruthless Terminators defend a police officer completely flips the roles of hero and villain, making this story an unforgettable twist in the franchise. Number 10. The most accurate nuclear nightmare. Sarah Connor's vision of Los Angeles being incinerated is widely considered the most realistic depiction of a nuclear blast ever filmed. To achieve this, James Cameron consulted with federal nuclear scientists to study the physics of thermal radiation. The production team built a massive miniature of LA using fragile materials like dry crackers and shredded paper, designed to vaporize rather than just explode. When hit with high-pressure air cannons, the set disintegrated exactly how real structures would in a multi-megaton blast. The result was so hauntingly accurate that members of the U.S. nuclear testing community later praised the film for creating the most honest representation of an atomic explosion ever put on screen. It wasn't just a special effect, it was a scientifically grounded warning of the total destruction Judgment Day would bring. Number 11. The $8 million Betrayal. In 1995, the studio behind Terminator 2, Carolco Pictures, collapsed financially due to their disastrous pirate epic Cutthroat Island, which reportedly lost around $147 million. With Carolco bankrupt, the Terminator rights were forced into a public auction. James Cameron attempted to buy back his own creation with 20th Century Fox, but they lost the bid. The rights were instead purchased for about $8 million by producers Mario Kassar and Andrew Vajna under C2 Pictures. Cameron was deeply frustrated, feeling the franchise had shifted from a story-driven vision into a purely commercial asset. Because he no longer controlled the rights, Cameron refused to direct Terminator 3, unwilling to work without full creative authority. However, years later, Cameron regained the Terminator rights and returned as producer on Terminator Dark Fate, which he considers his true sequel to Terminator 2, ignoring Terminator 3, Salvation, and Genesis. Number 12. The Gun That Came Back. Most viewers don't realize that the massive gun Arnold fires in Terminator 2 is directly connected to Predator. In Predator, the weapon is nicknamed Old Painless and carried by Blaine, played by Jesse Ventura. In real life, this gun is an M134 minigun, a weapon normally mounted on helicopters because it's extremely heavy and requires external power to operate. The reason it appears again in Terminator 2, legendary effects artist Stan Winston worked on both films, and Arnold Schwarzenegger starred in both. During filming, Arnold was secretly connected to an off-screen power source, with cables hidden under his clothes, and the firing speed was slowed down so the spinning barrels and muzzle flashes looked clear and dramatic on camera. Number 13. The Actor Who Became a Machine. Robert Patrick pushed realism to an extreme while playing the T-1000. He studied how a machine assassin would behave, and trained himself to fire a heavy Beretta handgun without blinking. He also learned to sprint while breathing only through his nose, ensuring he never looked tired or out of breath on screen. During the mall chase scene, Patrick was so fast that he actually caught up to John Connor's dirt bike. Director James Cameron had to stop the take and tell him to slow down, joking that if the T-1000 caught the bike that early, the movie would be over in 20 minutes. Number 14. The Boys Club Discovery. Director James Cameron did not want John Connor to look like a polished child star with rehearsed Disney-style acting. That's why Edward Furlong was not cast through an agency or acting school. He was discovered at the Pasadena Boys Club, a local youth hangout with zero professional acting experience. Furlong's real life at the time was chaotic. He grew up without knowing his biological father, and his mother, Eleanor Torres, struggled through difficult periods, which led to Edward living with his aunt. During the filming of Terminator 2, a bitter legal battle erupted between his mother and his aunt and uncle over custody. Still, the casting director noticed something powerful in his eyes, a survival instinct that could not be taught. That raw survivalist aura is what ultimately won him the role. Number 15. the Rockstar Terminator that never happened. James Cameron originally wrote the role for T-1000 specifically for punk rock legend Billy Idol. Cameron even visualized the character with Idol's sharp, counterculture image, designed to contrast with Arnold Schwarzenegger's heavy, industrial Terminator. However, just before production began, Idol was involved in a serious motorcycle accident that left him with a severe leg injury. Because the T-1000 required relentless sprinting and physical intensity, the production was forced to pivot and considered another rock star, Blackie Lawless from WASP. Cameron ultimately vetoed the idea for a precise psychological reason. Lawless stood 6'4", noticeably taller than Arnold. If the villain physically towered over him, it would break the tank versus Porsche dynamic Cameron wanted. The T-1000 needed to feel smaller, faster, and more predatory, not stronger. From the accidental recording of history to the permanent sacrifices made by the cast, Terminator 2: Judgment Day is far more than just a blockbuster. It's a film where the lines between man and machine blurred in ways James Cameron never even intended. Whether it's the T-1000's chilling learning process, the hidden rock and roll tributes, or the bizarre comic book connection to RoboCop, Terminator 2 remains a masterpiece of dark storytelling that almost ended very differently. It leaves us with a haunting question. If the self-correction theory is true and Judgment Day is inevitable, are we simply living in a timeline waiting for its own expiration date? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment with your favorite Terminator moment, and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite sci-fi classics. See you in the next one.